In the previous videos, we wrote the variables and the functions for our data tracking app. In this video, we're going to start actually taking in the user input. So I'm going to say when the add button is clicked, I'm going to come up to my logic here. I'm going to grab an if-then statement, and I'm going to grab my equals block. And what I'm going to say is, if the text in the text box is blank, do this. If it's not blank, do this. So I'm going to come to my text box. Here we go. My text box, and what I want is my text. If that is blank, then I want to call my notifier to say, please enter text. So I want to call my notifier to, I can duplicate this, and we can say, please enter data or text or whatever we'd like to say. Otherwise, if there is something in there, we want to start adding items to our list so we can display them. So I'm going to add items to my list. And the first one that I want is my global months. So I can just come up here and duplicate that. And where do I want to get that data from? Well, I want to get it from my spinner. So I want my spinner's selection, meaning whatever month I've scrolled down to. Then I'm going to duplicate this again, and I want to add to my global entry amounts. And what do I want to add? Well, whatever's in my text box. So I'm going to get rid of this, and I'm going to duplicate here. And whatever's entered into that text box, which will be that number value. So once I've done that, I want to clear out that text box so the user doesn't have to delete it and I don't get multiple entries on accident. So I can come back here, I can set that text box back to blank, and I can duplicate and I can give the user feedback saying data added. So that's our add button. So we're adding items to our variable list here, which we then will display using the display function. We're going to do our clear data button then. Well, our clear data button is we want to take this data list, and I can already see an error that when I brought this in before. The data list here should be elements. So when I did this on the previous function, I never changed that to elements. So that's a good catch accidentally that I caught right now. Otherwise, we would have gotten an error. So I want to take my data list, and I can duplicate from here, and I want to create an empty list when I hit clear. So our labels, so we have two labels, the total amount label, and I can duplicate this, and my number label. So total amount label and my average number label. And I want to take both of their texts, and I just need to grab a number block. I guess I'll just come back up to here, and I want to set them back to 0. So I'm resetting my labels to display 0. And I'm also creating empty lists for all my variables. So I know I have 3 variables that I'm dealing with. So it is my entry months, my entry amounts, and my displaying of my list. And for each of those, we are going to clear out that list by creating an empty list. So when I join that here now, what we have is our reset button. Now, those functions that I've already written, I'm going to come to